that?
now.
Don't you wish that instead of sending a like voicemail and sending a message, you could just be like, "Yo, Chris, hey, what's up?
Not really.
Vitaly, where are you?"
Man, that's why you got text messages.
Oh,
bro.
that's
Like,
dumb. That's dumb.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, or post Thanksgiving.
Everybody.
I
I was just showing everybody. I was cleaning out my house and I found my my old Nextel. How many people remember that in the chat? Look at this thing.
Yeah.
This was the bomb back in the day. It's still pretty cool. That sound, just how you just be like, "Yo, what's up? Call you later."
Dude, that made you look like I remember opening that up even when I didn't get a call, just so I could look cool. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. And then look what else I found. You know what else I found? I found my college ID. Look at this. Look at this guy. I haven't changed. Look at this. Look at his face.
How old is that?
I was 18.
It's ridiculous. I'll show you my Stony Brook ID. I have it somewhere.
Look at
here.
that.
Hold on 1 second.
I can't believe I found this. When was this? What? 90?
Okay, I'm here.
What up, Amit?
What's up? What's up, baby? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Finance Junkies.
You got some splaining to do, bro.
What's splaining?
You got some splaining. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I have no idea. What
you know
exactly
How's your hand job?
Exactly what we're talking about. You put up some bullshit advice for dating. Listen, first of all, admit it. You were on a fucking business meeting and you were trying to pass it off like it was a date.
But no, it wasn't a business meeting. That
was not with a female. You were not sitting across from a female.
No, I wasn't. But didn't you see the reveal? It was.
I don't know. He was pretty cute.
I didn't see the reveal. No.
Yeah, let me share. For those that don't know what I did over Twitter, I had some fun on Saturday night. So I basically made this whole thread of like, yo, I'm going on a date. I'm gonna be live. I've had this idea for a long time. I'm gonna be live tweeting a date, but I didn't have a real date. But I was like, fuck it, we'll just make it up.
Wait,
and
so
then
do you like your sister or something? Who the hell were you with?
No, I was with this guy. So this is a guy who works at Palantir. His name is Mateo. We've gotten super cool over the past couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we it was really fun, bro. We got to chill, we got to talk. But I made it a whole thing on Twitter where it's like every hour I was updating it, and by like the fourth hour, Vitaly was like, "This guy's just fucking around by himself," and Vitaly started ratioing every tweet, saying, "Oh, is it with your hand the date, or like, oh, is your lotion on the date?"
You gave it away.
I like that term.
Yes,
I've
sir.
never heard of that.
I mean,
ratioing. Okay, I like that.
Ratioing? When you tweet something under someone's tweet and you get more likes.
My wife would have said I was negging you.
More likes.
Probably.
But you gave it away by one of the tweets when you said his food or something like that. Yes, sir. That's what he said. Yes. Sir.
Yeah,
about ordering a drink.
Well,
But you were like, "Oh, this is advice when you're on a
No, let me read it, then you tell me what's wrong. Let me read it, then you tell me what's wrong. Okay, so this is what gave it away. He said, "Do you eat pork?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." I should have said like, "Yes, babe," or something. That would have been better.
Like, yeah,
because he was in on it the whole time, bro. He knew I was doing this and he was dying. He was like, "This is gonna be great." So I said, also on a date, do fun drinks. I meant to say drinks versus dates versus wine. So the advice was, you know, they have like Tropicana lavender or some bullshit. I was like, those are the fun drinks that girls like want to pick. And if you let them order the drink and then you like it, even if the drink sucks, you know, it's kind of like interactive and stuff. It breaks the ice. What's wrong with that advice, Carlos? Why is that bad advice?
I mean, it's not necessarily bad advice, but the whole idea to say that no matter how bad the drink is, you say it was a great pick. No.
But you want to, if she picks a drink for you and you're like, this is trash, you think that's cool on a first date?
Yeah, you say it's bad.
No, don't.
Yeah,
I would not say it's bad on a first date.
I would say it's shitty. I would just tell you the truth.
Why would you lie? Why would you? You're saying that you think it's gonna make her like you more if you're like, oh, I like a drink.
No,
that
it's
I
just being
like.
courteous, bro. It's just being. If I was on a date with you, I was on. If Chris said, "Hey, drink this," and I'm like, "Oh, Chris,"
you're not there to be courteous. You're just like, no, you just said. It's not even about a boundary. You're just like, I don't like this. There's nothing wrong with saying I don't like it.
No, I fundamentally disagree. That's just being mean. That's like bad manners.
To say something that you don't like, actually don't like, and say that you don't like it.
You can say that later on the second date or the third day and make a joke out of it, not in the first 20 minutes of ordering the drink.
All right, let's talk about what's important. Why did you pay for another man's dinner?
No. Mateo's actually, he's been helping me out with a bunch of different stuff I'm working out.
No. He needed to, because I mean, you know, Carp sold all his shares and Palantir and drove the stock down.
He needed,
you know,
that's
what happened.
How many shares did Mateo sell?
He was an insider selling support group.
Dude, Mateo, for those that don't know him, he's not just he's not number 4,000 employee at Palantir. This guy's like legit at Palantir. He's an employee, but like he's one of those guys, you know, like he's
okay. Don't talk too much about him because we don't.
No, I'm just saying he's smart. He went through 8 interviews.
All right. Otherwise,
you're
you'll be paying
he's
for all
just
his
not
meals.
number 10,565 number employee. He is.
Ironically, we didn't talk about the stock for the whole night. Like we talked about just like life stuff, because he has also other ambitions outside of working at Palantir, so that's why it was a good discussion. It wasn't really about
I like Michael Wilder's comment. Put that up. That's a very interesting comment. So me and Carlos,
there you
exactly.
go.
There you go.
You lie about
That's I don't agree with that. You can tell a white
explain-
lie on a first date and then clear it up later.
But you don't.
Oh.
Why would you lie? But the thing
What
is,
do you have to
no.
gain?
Yeah, the question is,
Yeah.
what do you have to gain? If she says, "Here's a drink, I bought this for you," and you don't like it, what do you have to gain by just saying, "Nah, I didn't really like that"?
Yeah.
I mean, because then you have to sip the drink for the next hour, and she knows you hate it.
No,
And
you get another drink.
Get another drink that you like.
Oh, at that point, you can get another drink.
Yeah.
You say
Okay.
thanks, but I'm not into that. That's
Yeah.
fine. Like shit.
And then it's on her. And then it's on her to drink it. And guess what? You still get another drink.
Okay,
It's not being mean.
that's-
It's not being mean.
Yeah.
It's not being mean. Like, okay, if you ordered something for the table, like, hey, I'm gonna get an appetizer, and you're like, I'm gonna order this, and then she tastes it, she's like, oh, I don't like it. Would you think less of her? Would you be like, oh my God, how could you not eat this? She's just saying what she likes and she doesn't like.
No, and that actually happened. We ordered the steak appetizer thing, and it was kind of bad, and we both like agreed on it. But I don't know, with the drink and a girl, I think it's just being nice in that moment. I guess that's what.
Well, I don't think you're
I could
on
be
a
wrong.
date to fundamentally be nice.
That's fair. That's fair.
You're not
Go
there.
ahead, someone's asking, didn't I buy you dinner? Go ahead.
Yeah, Vitaly, dude.
I
Vitaly
bought
just keeps-
Vitaly dinner. It was a cheesecake. That was a cheap dinner though. It was like
This is a good
I
time to
bought you
tell
a dinner
him.
after.
This is a good
Oh
time.
yeah, you did. Yeah,
Vitaly, this is a good time to tell him.
But
that
I
you
said,
actually
but he
did
gave me a
everything
handy
you
after.
wanted.
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't see that.
You should just tell him now that he didn't.
It's okay if you get a handy after dinner, by the way. You can pay for dinner then. That's the rules. Right, Chris?
What? I wasn't paying attention. Sorry. You lost me.
Yeah.
I was imagining you reclining on that Tesla and I'm giving you a hand job. That's
Oh,
what-
my God. Oh, yeah, you let me drive the Tesla. I forgot.
did
That's the
drive it.
first time I drove it. And you were telling me about Enphase. I remember March 2022. That's when it happened. Yeah.
All right. What were you asking, Carlos?
Oh no, nothing. Let's move on.
Okay, so here we go. This is the biggest topic of the day. This is incredibly, incredibly important. We need to discuss this probably for the next 50 minutes. So thank you, 222 people, for being here on a Sunday night. First of all, before I get to the topic, real quick, how was everyone's Thanksgiving? Let's do that. We forgot to even ask that. Vitaly, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. We went to a friend's house in deep in Brooklyn, and it was great. Sometimes it's really good to hang out with people because it's been a while since I've actually hung out with anybody because I was working all this time. So it was nice just to have a good dinner, good conversation with good people.
Okay.
Friendsgiving.
Chris, your Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we did the same thing. We went to one of our friends' places. They made amazing dinner. One of the highlights was they made a tandoori turkey with this makhani sauce that was just bomb, bro. So that was like the highlight of the night for me. And yeah, and then they also had the courtesy to do the Red Lobster, what do they call the biscuits? I forgot you know what I'm talking about. The Cheddar Bay, Cheddar Bay biscuits. Those were just fire, dude. If you've never had a Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuit, bro, you are missing out. Go try one tomorrow. It was so good.
There was a restaurant in the city called Desi. It's an Indian restaurant, and it was, I would say, one of the top 5 restaurants I've ever eaten at. It was just insane. And they did a tandoori chicken that was just the best thing ever. They did one where they put what was it? They put chicken inside of lamb, inside of 3 different meats or veal, and it was this layered, and it had this sauce, and they would pair wine with each one. I mean, it was one of the best restaurants that I've ever been to. I was so sad when they closed. When I found out that they were closing, I went there 2 more times within a week just to try to get it. So I feel you. The tandoori thing is the shiz.
How do you pronounce that? Is it tandoori?
It's tandoori.
It's
tandoori.
Tandoori.
Yeah, tandoori. Yeah. My Thanksgiving was pretty much the same. We just had dinner with the family. Nothing too crazy. So Junksgiving was a highlight this year for me. So if you guys didn't see that episode, recommend checking that one out because that was fun.
Since my house was a mess because we were doing all the renovations, so we went to Nobu.
Oh, really? That was great.
Yeah, look at the little kid.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome.
I tried to get a toddler to try sushi for the first time. It was the best. I was like, here, eat this. She goes, Papa, that's a fish. I was like, yeah, it's a fish. Yucky.
And then she
wouldn't eat
spits out a $20 fish.
She wouldn't eat it. And I was like, you are eating that? And then we're gonna scrape out the diaper. You're gonna eat it again.
All right. The most important topic of the week. Speaking of food. Here we go, folks. Elizabeth Warren tweets out today, we don't need another private equity deal that could lead to higher food prices for consumers. The FTC is right to investigate whether the purchase of Subway by the same firm that owns Jimmy John's and a deli creates a sandwich shop monopoly. So in America, we are currently concerned.
Just remember, she's not going after Microsoft. Okay.
Sandwich shop monopoly.
OpenAI. This is good. She's not going after Microsoft and OpenAI.
Let's start off with Chris. Chris, what was your raw reaction to this?
I couldn't believe it. I thought this was like, I was like, there's no way this is real. And then it was like her goddamn checkmarked account. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like, sandwiches? Really?
It's like
That's
when
what
there's
you're
nothing
going
left
over?
to be a social justice warrior about, right? When
Yeah.
there's nothing left to bitch about, then you start looking at Subway sandwiches.
Bro, you're going. I couldn't explain it better. That was amazing.
I think Elizabeth Warren needs a win because if she went after anything difficult, she won't get it.
She has. She's gone after difficult things. She just gets shut down. I mean, at least on Twitter,
This is exactly what I'm saying.
gets shut down when she talks about the minimum wage or she tries to talk about education. People just call out the fact that she flip flops. She was a Republican at some point. She was trying to make. She was the one who put forth the bill in Congress that would not let people get out of their student loans in bankruptcy. That was like one of her heyday things. Hallmark.
She helped do that? Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So like
kinda
that,
shocking.
I don't know if it was the fact that before then you could have gotten out of student loans, but she was one of the champions for that. Like, no, when she was a Republican, when she was a Republican, and now she's a Democrat and talking about like student loans.
I think the best part was the roasting that she got on the freaking Twitter comment section. That was by far.
Can you actually show some?
Yeah,
I didn't follow this
Yeah.
today,
Right.
but I saw your post to WhatsApp in our group, and that was hilarious. These comments are killer.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
everyone was on it today. Alex from a Ticker
That's the
Symbol
best
U
one. The footlong.
Industrial Complex.
Wait, read the whole thing.
So this is Alex. She's trying to dismantle the industrial sandwich complex. Jason says, Lena Khan, any chance you could take on salads and Starbucks next? If there was a theoretical sandwich monopoly, you do realize people can make a sandwich at home for $3. Also, maybe if you remove regulations, lower taxes, reduce government spending, folks could start sandwich shops. That's a good one. Folks could start like mini sandwich shops if we didn't have as many regulations.
Keep scrolling.
First of all,
Some the
every
other
deli
ones.
has a sandwich shop built in.
Yeah, that's
So,
also true. That's true.
yeah.
Let me go to
Every
there.
corner store has a sandwich shop built in.
I had Subway today, ironically. I forgot I had Subway today.
I've been eating a lot of Subway lately, actually, too. What do you get there? I got that meatball sub.
Big sandwich must not win. Sandwich investigation.
I get a steak and cheese from there. Is this a parody account?
Right here. Senator, what really needs to be exposed is Subway's foot long. That is
That's
so
fact.
true. That
That's
shit
fact.
is 10 inches, bro. They've been calling it a foot
let me.
long.
Okay, did any of you get the footlong, the meatball before?
I used
The
to get the
meatball,
one, yeah.
marinara, the meatball
Yeah, okay.
marinara. With, yeah.
How many meatballs used to come in a footlong? How many?
At
meatballs
least
did they
five.
come?
At least
No,
five.
in a
'cause-
footlong. In a footlong.
Probably like 7.
It's got to be
Right.
7 or 8.
No.
Okay,
no,
if
I
I'm
would say five,
please
yeah.
call me out in the chat if I'm wrong, but it used to be 12. You used to get 6
12.
per 6-inch.
12.
And yeah, because what they would do is if you got a 6-inch instead, they would only give you 4, and that was a way of upselling you. Where if you get the footlong, you'll actually get 2 extra meatballs. But the other day, I went in there. I haven't been in there in a while, and she puts 8 meatballs in there. I was like, yo, where's the rest of them? And she's like, what do you mean? It's like, I saw you only put 8 meatballs in there. I counted. You know what I mean?
Counting your fucking meatballs.
I want my fucking 12 meatballs. She's like, no, I can charge you more. I was like, you son of a. So I think you're right. I think they made the bread smaller, so it looks like it's still as full. But yeah, and they used to be $5. Now they're $6 for yeah.
Dude, the $5 thing I think was probably it has to be up there in top 10 most successful marketing campaigns ever, right?
It's so genius, so simple, so easy. It's the right price.
Do you think they had a margin on that $5 footlong though, or do you think it was a
Yeah,
loss
dude.
leader?
Yeah. No, they made a ton of money. Dude, sandwiches are so cheap to make. It's literally just bread and veggies and a little bit of meat right there. That's it. the most of the upkeep was just
Is
probably
that how
the
you make a
employees.
sandwich?
That's
Interesting.
it. Exactly.
Wait, tell me again. I've lost track. How is this sandwich built?
I'll have to ask my cousin from Bangladesh.
Oh my
Get it
God.
lined up for you, dude. Yeah.
You know what
Dude.
they started to do? I don't know if this is happening everywhere, but around me, there's a scale, and I have never seen them pull out the scale. They weigh the meat to make it exactly what they're supposed to put on the sandwich.
But that's what the butcher does. So that makes sense, just to make sure that they're not shortchanging you. And the butcher's making you,
Well, the butcher you're buying per pound. In this case, they're just building you a sandwich, so it's kind of weird to see a scale for every like a piece of salami. And then
Yeah, but wouldn't you want to know? I mean, I think that's good for you as the consumer, because then you go, all right, I want to make sure that I got what
I got
paid
exactly what I
for, not
asked for.
fluffing it up with mayonnaise and ugh.
Did I tell you guys I don't know if it's technically fired or quit, but I got fired / quit from Blimpies. Did I ever tell you guys that
Oh.
story?
No.
No.
What'd you do?
So
You ate
in
too
high
many
school,
sandwiches there?
no. So in high
Patel,
school,
you got to
one of
stop
my-
eating the product. You got to leave something for the customers.
No.
That's important.
So my
No. Patel kept spreading all that mayo all over the fucking sandwich.
And that's where you learned about spreads.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. my friend hooked me up with a job at Blimpie. So he's like, hey, spoke to his boss. I got the job, so I'm working there. And a week in, like one guy comes up and says, hey, can I get an extra piece of cheese on the sandwich? Right. And I don't know. I was just having a fucking bad day. I mean, it was like a long series of bad problems I've been having with the manager. And he was just, so then after the customer leaves, he's like, you do know that cheese doesn't grow on trees, right? And so I was like, motherfucker, yeah, I know. It comes from cows. It's like, well, you're eating into my margins. I was like, bro, one fucking piece. He's like, I'm taking that piece of cheese from your pay. I'm docking you. I was like, you know what? I made a fucking foot-long veggie delight. I packed that shit up and I just walked out. I was like, fuck this job. I'm not dealing with this fucking shit. It was the stupidest fucking thing. And then like doing it, and then like I called him. I was like, hey man, are you gonna like pay me for like the week that I was there? He's like, no, I'm not. You can take me to court. I was like, oh bro, fuck that bullshit. So
How old were you, bro? You were like what, 20 something? That's
like 16. I went back to doing people's homework for money again. That's what I'm good at.
Like, you see what you did? You pushed me to a life of crime.
I did, exactly. I'm trying to be honest, just trying to help people out with an extra piece of cheese. I think he was mad that I didn't charge him for the piece of cheese. It was kind of my fault, right? So in hindsight, I understood what he meant, but the way he came off was like, hey, cheese doesn't grow on trees. I'm like, well, fuck yeah, I know that shit.
And 20 years later, you're like, you know what? He was right.
Yeah, yeah. Bro, I mean, I'll be honest. If I was, as a Patel, if a motherfucker was like giving away free cheese, I'd call him out too. Be like,
absolutely,
motherfucker, you're giving away my 5-cent margin, So
that story that you were telling sounds like the story that Mr. Wonderful always tells that inspired him to be a millionaire. You ever hear his story?
No.
He was working in a retail shop. I think it was like a fucking bubblegum shop or something like that. And he was it was like his first day, and he was there cleaning, and there was a girl that he liked that like worked at the place across the street, across the way or something. And like she was like looking at him. And at the end of the shift, the manager told him, go down on the floor and scrape the gum off the floor. And he's like, no, that's not part of my job description. I'm not. He's like, but I'm the boss, so you have to like do what I say. And so like totally like emasculated him. It made him get on his hands and knees and like could clean the gum off the floor while the girl that like he liked was like watching him. And I think he left that job and he was like, fuck that. I'm out basically. And he's like, from then on, he was like, you know what? I'm never going to be an employee. You have to be the boss.
Yeah. Yeah. Something very similar happened to my brother.
Ice cream shop. Yes.
Yeah.
Ice cream shop.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say this is why I think not kids, but teenagers should all have at some point a job. It doesn't matter what it is. Once your kid turns 16, 17 years old, you should be pushing them and encouraging them to go work a job. It doesn't matter doing what, to work something, because that is the time when you really understand how the world starts to work. And if you understand it enough, you realize the first thing that hits you is you see your check, you're happy, but then you look at it and you're just like, what the fuck is FICA? Like, I didn't sign up for FICA. It's like, no, you got to pay for FICA. And that's when you realize that, hey, all this bullshit that I've been fed all fucking college, not college, all in high school and some of the school about tax, like, like everyone is equal. It's like, yeah, everyone pays taxes too. There you go. You wanted equality, here you go. So
After Halloween, there was all these videos of parents trying to show their kids demonstrate what taxes are based on their Halloween candy. Did you see those?
Mhm.
So the
Yeah.
kid had a big pile of candy, and he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Okay, so this is the pile of candy." He's like, "Half of it." He's like, "That's your federal tax." He's like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "I'm not done." Then we got to take state, we got to take local, we got to tell Social Security. The kid was left with a Three Musketeers and a Reese's. And he was like, "What?" He's like, "That's what
That's
daddy
what-
and mommy
Yeah.
deal with
That-
every freaking week."
And
That's
then
what
the
my
dad took
mom
all the
did.
candy, dumped it in the garbage. Said, "This is the
Right,
government
and
does with our money."
yeah, then he sent all of it to Ukraine.
Right.
My mom did that the first time I asked her to get paid for chores. I was probably 6 years old. I was like, so I'm getting paid to like do all this stuff. And then she like walked me through all the work she does in the house. And she was like, I'm not getting paid. And then I realized, I was like, oh, like, you know, that for this house to function, motherfuckers got to work. You can't just.
I think it's impressive that you just asked, that you even asked.
Yeah, I
My
was
mom-
young, man. I was stupid. I was just like, so I get paid to make my bed, right? And it was like, no, that's not how this works.
See, Indian people, we have like a sick, I don't know, maybe it's my mom, but my mom had this sick thing where she would like threaten you with like something really bad. Like she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, if you don't do the dishes, I'm gonna go jump in front of a train." Like some crazy shit like that. You know, so like the first time my mom said that, me and my brother like, "Bro, we need to fucking make sure the house is absolutely clean. We can't lose this woman. She feeds us, you know, she's our meal ticket." So we cleaned up everything. And then like a week later, you know, we just started to let little things lax, and she still kind of just accepted it. And then I was like, "Bro, we need to call her out on her bluff. You know, I don't think she's gonna do it." Lo and behold, you know, that shit only worked one time. After that, me and my brother like, "Hey, mom,
You were hip to it.
we just chilling." Yep.
What, she said she was going to jump in front of a train. You're like, yeah, the next one according to the schedules in 35 minutes. You might want to get going. You don't want to miss it. Be waiting.
Okay,
there
let's transition to this. I wasn't going to bring this up as a topic, but I think we might as well do it. We're pretty good friends with Jesse. He's a friend of the channel. He's now on YouTube. He publicly disclosed his portfolio yesterday. So I'm going to go through it, and then I want to get people's thoughts on in the chat what they think. This is a guy who's managing, I think $1 million, a little bit more than that with this whole portfolio.
I
So
thought
you
he
was
was a multimillionaire, is he not? Am I
the
mistaken there?
portfolio might be over $1 million, but the portfolio
it's
might be
definitely not a small amount of money that he's playing with here. So whether it's multi-millions or millions, it's a decent amount of money. But even if it's just a hypothetical portfolio, what do you guys think? You got Clean Spark, Bitcoin miners 16%, that's the largest. Tesla 12%, second largest. Square is 9%. BITF, I don't know what that is, that's 9%. Intel 7%. Enphase he picked up in the 90s, I think, or like 85 range.
80s. I think he did it in the 80s. He mentioned
80s, 7%. He was shorting Enphase at 130, and now he's in it long. ARC
he actually shorted to 130. I think from 160 to 130. I remember talking to him about this, and then he got out because he wasn't sure what was going to happen. So apparently he's in now that it's low.
Yeah. So we got 7% of Enphase, ArcG of 7%, Palantir 6%. He sold at 21, made like 600 grand, and then put in another 100 grand when it got to 2050 because he got afraid that it might come up a little bit more. Palantir's now at like 19, but he has 100 grand there. PayPal 6%, Riot 6%, another Bitcoin miner. SoFi 5%, Robinhood 5%, and Hut, another Bitcoin miner 3%, and then Grayscale Bitcoin Trust 2%.
I mean, that's just basically like a finance Junkies ETF, doesn't it look like?
No,
if
I
all
think
of
there's
us-
too many Bitcoin miners for it to
There's
be.
no Verizon. There's no Verizon in there. So it's
there's no
definitely not
regional
a-
banks.
That's right. There's no regional banks.
Okay,
No,
the ones he
I
has that we like are Palantir, SoFi, Robinhood, Tesla, Enphase. Those are the 5 that we like that he has.
So I don't understand. Is this portfolio because I would assume he has, some like the S&P 500. I would think he has some of that, or he has Google
Not
somewhere.
Nope,
No.
not in this.
It'd be
No.
interesting to follow up if he actually does have that, a separate
No,
portfolio.
I think this is a legit portfolio. He put it out today. He made like a big post about like this is his shit.
The
This is
thing
what
about
he-
this portfolio is it'll look very different in 3 years. I think the reason why it's so heavy on Bitcoin is because he understands where this is going, and he's playing the times. He's playing the current market and the current market environment. He posted some stuff. I mean, talking about hedging, how Bitcoin is a good hedge against black swan events. I mean, he knows what's up. And so I think in 2 years, this chart's going to look very different. He might not have any of these Bitcoin miners in there.
Yeah.
And it'll all be reallocated to whatever. He's very opportunistic.
Well, I wonder if he's suffering with us. We could follow up with him, but he has a lot of fintech. I wonder if he was there longer and now he's down on all those positions because basically everybody's down on fintech. So
I do
wonder
know
if
that
that's
he
the
had
case
some.
here.
I do know that he had some options on PayPal that were like really, really far out of the money, but I don't think it was a meaningful position for him. I think it was just something like, hey, if it trends in the right direction, I'll be able to make some, some outstanding gains in a very quick way. But I don't think it was anything meaningful.
Well, 6% here.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's stock or options, right?
No,
That's
it's
the other
definitely
thing, too.
options. This portfolio, guys, is not just like his long portfolio. This is like if he has a shit ton of PayPal calls, that's the 6%. He bought 10,000.
Oh, so it's mostly options.
I think so. I'm pretty.
Well, it's hard
sure.
to tell with just the percent allocation because you don't know. Like, that's the percent allocation of the value that it is right now, but it's not necessarily telling you how much money he put in or
That's true. That's true.
How much is he up or down on either position?
Well,
How
he's up
much
250% this year. He's publicly disclosed that he was up 800% in the summer. So it came down, but he's still. I mean, still 250 is pretty nice, right?
Yeah.
So even if he's holding some PayPal bags, obviously Palantir did really well. Tesla did well. When he bought, he's up 115 grand on Tesla calls that he bought at $100 in January, and he hasn't cashed them out yet. He tweeted that today, right? So
he was talking about a $350. He's seeing it going to 350. I don't know what time frame, but he's seeing it go to 350.
Okay, let's do this. How many positions are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, if you had to condense this to 5, core 5. No, core 3. Let's make it even sweeter. Core 3.
3?
How would you condense it to 3 companies? Put in the chat too. What 3 companies would you condense this to?
I'll go first. Tesla, Intel, and PayPal.
What's the logic behind that?
Tesla, because it has a unique growth factor in some of its non-core businesses that may end up becoming like multi-trillion-dollar businesses over time. So I think right now it's an auto company and it's valued like an auto company, but the energy business is there. Its affiliation to SpaceX and Starlink and all that stuff could end up being something that's a net positive for these guys, for them. And even the auto business itself can grow into like a much larger thing with the charging network. So there's a lot of value in Tesla that could be unlocked in the future. Intel has a really good business with CPUs, but they're also converting to a more fab-like structure where they're actually making fabs. So in the future, they could be one of key fab players, and they could end up generating a ton of value. Plus, Pat Gelsinger is a great CEO. I followed him since his VMware days, and PayPal is just a clear value play. They're generating good amount of cash flow that they're using to buy back shares. So that would be my logic.
Okay, pretty solid. Who wants to go next?
I'll say quickly: Tesla, Enphase, and GBTC. That's all you really need.
Say it again. Tesla, GBTC, and what else?
Enphase, of course.
Okay,
yes.
got it. Sorry. Yeah, how did
And Palantir. Tesla.
Okay, what do? What's the logic on Tesla, GBTC, and Enphase? I mean,
well, what do you mean? I'm invested in all 3. I have basically all my money in Tesla, Enphase, Bitcoin, Ethereum. That's like the majority of my portfolio.
Okay, I'll go next then, Carlos. I'll do Palantir. I'll do PayPal, and then I will do Robinhood.
No,
Robinhood,
no
I think, is
no SoFi for you.
No SoFi. No, I think Robinhood's I think Robinhood is one of the most undervalued companies in the market. I think Robinhood 8 to 12 is going to happen 2024. I think Palantir is just because I think you just never know what's going to happen. I know the valuation is getting stretched, but I believe in Palantir long term. And then PayPal, I mean, I remembered on Black Friday, they're doing $5 billion of buybacks. And I made that tweet. I'm like, I think they're the best Black Friday deal. They still have $2 billion of buybacks left to do in the next month or something like
and
that.
they're still generating additional operating cash flow, which gives them the ability to keep going.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
All right. Carlos, you're 3.
I would say Tesla, CleanSpark, and PayPal.
Logic.
12 to 18 months. I just think those will give you the best returns.
Wait, so Vital, you picked PayPal too?
No, he picked GBTC,
Okay.
Tesla, and Enphase.
I was wondering if there was one thing that all of us agree on. Maybe it's just Tesla.
I think so.
I didn't pick Tesla, but you could switch Tesla for
four
Robinhood.
days from now, these Cybertrucks are actually going to start getting into customers' hands.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's transition to that. And real quick before we do Cybertrucks, let me see in the chat. We got Tesla, Palantir, Enphase. We got Tesla, Palantir, Enphase. We got Ride, Bitcoin, Ride, GBTC, Palantir, SoFi. I am dumb from ET FaceTime Home. I'm kidding. I saw that. I know I'm not stupid. ArcG, CleanSpark, Tesla, Riot, Tesla, PayPal. Oh, Crossroads. That's a good one. Riot, Tesla, PayPal. Tesla, Palantir, PayPal. All right. So most people think Tesla. Most people think PayPal. I'd say those are the two, and
Mhm.
decent amount of people think Palantir. Okay, Cybertrucks, a couple days. What are we expecting?
Well, the first thing that I have to point out is all the people talking about panel gaps. Have you seen all of the latest ones? Look, they could be these like perfect ones that they're putting in shops. There are no fucking panel gaps on this thing. The builds look perfect on all the models that we've seen, from the one that was outside when Rob Barron was in Lincoln Center to all the ones that are showing up. There's, you know, in the showrooms now, they're all looking good. There's even one in New York City now. They're all looking really good. And yeah, 4 days from now, there's debate online on as to whether or not we're going to get pricing for it. I think we are going to get pricing for it. 69, 79. What is it? Could be 59, 69, 79. I think they're going to make all of them qualify for the tax credit. What do you think?
What was the tax credit? What was the max? Was it 79 or 75?
80,000. Yeah. That's why I think 79, 90.
No, I think the quad motor is going to be more than $80,000.
They haven't actually said anything about even though he said they're going to have a quad motor, the only one you can still configure is the Tri. So they haven't actually said anything about the quad motor yet.
So do you think they're going to make it a big deal on the 30th? Like
big deal. They're doing a whole event for it. Like they're doing a massive event for it
in the morning
in Texas.
In Texas?
Yeah. Did you see? I mean, these things are huge events. They're as big as like the reveal of the factory itself. I mean, depending on when it is, the 30th, depending on what time it is, we should actually like maybe go live, because it'll be streamed online. There'll be all of the people, you know, they'll do a huge event for it. Hopefully they give us pricing, and then they're going to do the first deliveries. If you remember the Model S, remember when the Model S Plaid was launched, was announced? Yeah. They had a big thing for it, and they even had like a track set up where the new owners could take there and do like 0 to 60 runs with the Plaids. So I'm assuming they'll have something like that for. I don't know if you saw, like, if you watch that guy who has the drone channel that follows like Giga Texas, right? So that guy, they do this, they do like off-road testing in the front, like these like I don't know, they're like alternating hills, like that they use, like little moguls that they use to test the suspension. I feel like they'll have a little test area for them out in the front. And then get ready. Within a few days, you're gonna start seeing the tug of war videos. You're gonna see them doing teardown.
There's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot of organic.
It's gonna be crazy, man. And the halo effect of this, the halo effect's gonna be nuts. There was someone, I don't know, was it you, Kris, that tweeted that? There was a line outside one of the Tesla stores just to view the Cybertruck. It looked like one of those looked like one of those Apple. Maybe it was Jesse. I'll see if I can find it. It was like people just standing in line just to look at the vehicle, and you can't even touch it. You're looking at it from like 4 or 5 feet away. It's like if they could sell those things at, you know, at that touch point of the customer, like in the stores, if they had inventory, I mean, how many of those things do you think they would sell?
Kris, you want me to share this, or is it a different topic?
Yeah, it's a different topic. So
okay,
once he's done,
let's just
let me see if I can find it real quick. I'll just show it to you.
What I fear, at least initially, is that when it comes out, the prices will not be in the. Originally, it was 50 grand, maybe 60 grand, 70 grand. So I think it's going to be a lot more expensive.
What do you think? You think it's going to be like 100 grand? You think it'll be that much?
I think if there is a quad motor, I do believe it's going to be pretty expensive. But the
quad motor would, but they won't make the quad motor initially. I mean, they'll probably do only dual motors. I think they're going to try to fill those dual motors.
I think they're going to sell whatever is going to get them the most margin initially. So if that's quad, it would make sense to sell that or try whatever. Find those two. I had a dual motor for order, and I think the order price was $50,000 when I put a order in. $100 deposit. It was 50 grand for the dual motor, and I doubt it's going to be 50 grand for the dual motor.
The thing is, I think they scrapped the single motor altogether.
Right.
Like
so those people are completely gone. So now it's either
all up to share the screen.
Yeah.
This was it. Jesse tweeted it. This is a line outside the Tesla store just to look at it.
Yeah,
like, that's crazy.
It's cool. There's an actual line for someone to view a car. Yeah,
just to view it.
Yep.
I don't know. It's gonna be a crazy quarter.
Yeah. Okay, Kris, I gotta do something real quick. Let me share a screen and I'll be back in a second.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to start doing with you guys for maybe next year, I've been using this thing called Savvy Trader. One of the Patreon people suggested it to me to basically create a model portfolio to basically track performance. And this way, you know, we could kind of work with our followers and have them kind of take a look at like what we believe in, which companies are kind of like positioned in our portfolio without actually going into our real portfolios. There are some limitations on this because it doesn't let you do options. And I do a good portion of options too. So 80% of my portfolio is usually in stock. The other 20% are in options, especially if there's like some really deep value discounts that I see, right? So these are my current positions. So just like the Jesse Dow thing, I kind of wanted you guys to see it and tell me what you thought. And let me just do it based on like the total holdings right now. So these are my holdings. I'd like to hear from you guys what you think.
Can you make it bigger? Can you zoom into the tickers?
Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me just put it onto the thing. Maybe this will, hold on. Bam. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
There you go. So these are my positions. So these are the top 10 positions. That my number one position is in Verizon. I think it's a deep value play plus a dividend chasing play. Google, of course, you guys know. I think they're going to be secondary winners in AI, and based on this current valuation, they're likely to still appreciate. Amazon is just a nonstop growth beast with their ads business that's going to keep adding to their cash flows. Operating income is just jumping. Meta, me and VITALY, we've had this long discussion. I mean, there's very few stocks that me and VITALY sometimes agree on, but Meta's definitely one of them.
I think it's 3 out of 4 right at the top.
Yeah. So Meta is another one. AMT, I'm not sure a lot of people know about them, but American Tower, they own, it's a REIT that owns all the cell phone towers around the United States, and actually they have presence internationally as well. Paycom, they are a HR software company that does payroll. There's value there. I'm not going to go into too much of it. I don't know if you guys know Paycom at all, but Paycom, CCI, which is Crown Castle, it's another cell phone tower REIT. SLG, which is a commercial office REIT. TLT, which is just the long-term bond index for long-term U.S. Treasuries. SBAC is another cell phone tower REIT company, but they don't do REITs. They're actually a corporation. So, they do a lot more like share buybacks and stuff. And then Disney, of course, you guys know, I don't have to explain. TFC, which is a regional bank. Atcore, it's a industrial player where they do like electrical conduits and things like that. And I'm big on their data center business, because I think when you look at a data center, there's so much electrical work that has to be done for data center to work, and I think data centers are growing like crazy, so that's why Atcore is there. But what do you guys think of this portfolio?
I have a question for you. How many times per year, or first of all, how long has Verizon been your number one position?
Only for about the last 30 days.
Okay. And then so about how many times a year does your number one position change?
I'd say at least 5 to 10 times, just depending on what kind of value gets extracted out of the position. So usually if I find a company is deep in the value, it will become my number one position. And then as it returns back to its mean and it gets back to like a much higher trading position, I mean, then it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to reduce it down to a position that I think it's a little bit more meaningful. And then I look for the next opportunity. So as an example, in November, December, like Meta was like my number one pick. Like I was on your guys' Discord just screaming all day, Meta, Meta, Meta. And then so when Meta started to just really go up and get to like the 300s, I was like, okay, you know what? Now it's time to take that capital and deploy it elsewhere to make sure that I'm, because the value, like it basically at $80, $90, Meta was
but Chris, here's the broader question. Is this mainly options or stock?
It depends on which companies we're looking at.
Like out of the 12 positions, how many of them are options versus stock? Because I think Rango brings a good point that it's a low IV portfolio unless you're leveraging it with options.
So
right?
But this is not his real portfolio. This is
I would say I have 4 of those in options. I have Verizon in options. I have Google in options. I have Amazon in options. And I have what else?
Google. Well, no, you have Google stock.
Disney, and I have Disney in options, and that's it. The rest are just stock. I did have options with TFC, which you guys know when it ran up to 36, I sold them, and I'm just waiting right now to see if there's any better entry points that I can get in again. But a lot of the problems with doing TFC options is that they're at the mercy of the federal government and their legislation, right? So the minute in July that they came up with those new AOCI regulations, that's when it was like, look, I like doing options to get back to a mean reverting strategy, but I'm not gonna hang back and wait for the government to make my options print. I'd rather do it the other way around, where it's just company going back to its real valuation. Most of these companies are in this position because they pay good dividends. And I think that there's going to be a lot of yield chasing that might happen in the next couple of years. So I think by 2026, a lot of these companies are going to get bought up and people are just going to be chasing the yield. So
I got a jet in a few minutes to go pick up my wife, but Imnop had a great question at 6:40.
what's
Kris,
that?
she's like, Kris, do you get killed on short-term capital gains because you're selling in and out? That's why I was starting to ask you, what was your number one position and how?
So
wait, the other question is, how do you leverage what you call it tax loss harvesting? Is that what you do to offset some of the short-term capital gains?
So that's the other thing. If I have some losses, I will definitely sell them right now and basically just chill, And so I do have some losses. I'm not infallible. So basically, yeah.
No, go ahead. Answer that, please.
Yeah. So I'll sell those. I'll sell some of those and offset it by selling a lot of these things I've already sold. So right now I have a short-term capital gain.
80% of his portfolio is gone, people.
No, it's not 80%. No. So no, I do have
it's only cash.
I do have a lot of short-term capital gains that I'm going to have to pay this year. But what's also good is that a lot of my options positions, believe it or not, are in my IRA. So I don't really have to worry about any taxes in that. Right. So yes, I do worry about the short-term capital gains. I really don't want to see this year's bill, but you have to remember, this is one of those things. If you make good money, then just pay the tax and call it a day. In the past, I've lost money trying to be tax efficient, where it's like, oh, you know what? I don't want to pay taxes on this. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hold the stock until next year. And, once that year comes up, the stock is down like
that's the mistake I made this year as well. I should have just took the money and said, all right, I'll pay 20%.
Yeah.
It's not.
Guys, whenever you're up on options, take the money and run.
Take the fucking money.
Yeah.
We told you that. We told you that.
You did. I publicly admitted you guys are right. You guys are right.
Take it, sell it, because you want to.
This is financial advice. Take the money.
Buy it back 30 days later in the new year. Right. You would have eaten 12 grand or whatever it was in losses that you'd have to. Basically, it pays you back. It's the only thing that you could get from those losses.
Can you bring that up again? I'll just make one point.
All right, I'm going to jet, guys. I'll catch you tomorrow.
All right, talk later, Carlos.
You're going to miss some good shit.
You better rip this portfolio? What are you about to do?
No, actually,
go
I'm not ripping anything. AMT and CCI. I love REITs, by the way, so I do have to look into those. So I am interested in that. I think there's a place for, you're an opportunistic value investor, which is absolutely fine, because like when you see deep value, deep fucking value, right? You go in hard and you make your money. There's nothing wrong with that. The bad part, let me just, you do have some good plays there. Like I said, AMT, CCI, Meta, Google, Amazon. These are great companies, great long-term plays.
Yeah.
But let me point out something. So me and you recognized Meta was tanking, right? And Google was tanking to 85 and Amazon was tanking to 85. And I was just buying a lot of shares hand over fist, bought options too, which I'm still holding. I actually haven't sold any Amazon, haven't sold any of my options. Meta too, I did make the mistake of selling a bit early. My options, not my shares. So this is where the mistake comes in, because if you buy these quality companies as they drop, and then Kris, I know you sold mostly out of all of it around the $200 mark, including your options. The problem is when you're going to chase for the next thing because you think the other thing is gone or done, and Meta wasn't done. Like, I don't know why you would have thought Meta was done, but I feel like you're costing yourself a lot of money and then a lot of headache because you have to find the next Meta, which is really hard to do. Like we were buying it at $100 and buying options at $100. So like something like that, it seems to me you shouldn't be running out of that. You should be holding that for as long as humanly possible, because a company like Meta is going to keep growing. In fact, I'd be surprised if they're not at all-time highs next year. Like I'd be shocked.
Yeah. No, and trust me, that's one of my probably bigger regrets for the year is selling out of Meta too quickly. Like I had a really strong bull case behind Meta. My problem was that the valuation started to get a little bit higher up, but
it didn't. Zuckerberg, the actual metrics were not bad.
Right. No, you are right. But there were two key factors in my decision to just start unloading a little bit. Number one was the valuation went from 8 PE to 30 something PE. Like it's right now, if you look at the PE ratio on Meta, it's up into the 30s again.
Also, Zucks is selling every day. So Just saying.
Well, that my bigger problem though is
20
that
million.
now
Well, what is he selling? He's worth $100 billion.
I'm just saying, he's selling. He's making some profits. You know.
my bigger problem with Meta only comes from like one thing. They're going back to the metaverse thing again, and I don't know if that's gonna turn them back into like a capital spender. In which case, then it's like, okay, look, you were saving this money and putting it towards share buybacks. Is that going to continue?
You're bringing up this
You know.
current with the current price at 330.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. You were doing this at 200. Why we talked about
Right.
this on the pod even.
Yeah,
That was
there
not
were
even happening in the same respect.
there were other opportunities at the time that were just so much more compelling as well. I mean, you look at Amazon, you look at Google. I ended up diversifying into those positions, so it's not like I was.
Let me bring something in here too. I think that the crux of the discussion is this, because VITALY is a good point. He's like, you got Meta at 88. Instead of just riding it, why are you trying to find the next thing? Because you've got.
Why are you trying to find another Meta?
Why are you trying to find another Meta?
Impossible.
Right, and then Kris, you're saying either you believe, which is fine to say this, you're just good at finding shit and you can ride one and find the other, or you think Meta's actually genuinely overvalued at 800 billion, that it's time to get out. So what is the perspective there? Do you just like hopping from girl to girl, or do you just can't be faithful, or like what exactly is the mindset?
I think for me, it's about where I think the valuation for this company should be. Like my example right now, like Google, I think should be closer to $200, especially within the next year or two, right? Because of just how much they're doing in terms of operating income and where they need to, where they could possibly go to. Meta is kind of the same thing. The only problem is, once again, I am a little bit leery on a lot of things that are coming around Meta. One, legislation. Two, this metaverse spending. For some reason, it's like a habit that Zuck just will not quit. And so I'm worried about that. And then at the same time, I'm also conflicted because I really, really like their Reels business. Their Reels business is so.
Can I give you a data point that maybe you don't have?
Yeah, go for it.
So I obviously have 2 kids and they're running around like crazy. They have started to play a game on the Quest called Gorilla Tag. You guys should look it up. And in the beginning, I was like, all right, cool. They're actually using the device, right? Is my thesis finally coming true that someone's going to be using? All their friends got Quests now. They're on this game for 8 hours a day. No fucking joke. Okay. Luckily, I have.
But what does that say about you as a parent that lets them do
It's not good. It is not good. Even I'm getting. No, I agree. It's not good. Even I'm getting sort of pissed off. I'm like, I'm going to take away half the quests. Okay. Because all they do is use up the battery and go straight to the next one. Because it's like a 2-3 hour battery. So, no, but my point is the theory is playing out. Like there are things that are becoming ingrained with these kids. And if the kids do accept this technology, that's where the bull case comes in.
Okay, but VITALY answered Chris's point that he thinks Google should be 200, Meta maybe should be 400. So
we can go on that. But my point is, this metaverse that you're saying, oh, maybe they're spending too much on, it's actually working now. It is insane. I'm watching it work right in front of my eyes. So it is happening.
For me, I bought the Quest. I have it. I hate to say this, but I have my wife is probably going to kill me. It's literally been sitting in my middle room. Like she helped me clear out my middle room. You're older,
I believe you.
Yeah. The thing is, I used it for like maybe the first 2 days, and I really enjoyed it. I played a few games. I went into the Horizon worlds. I like fished up some things, but I realized that number one, I tried even some games that like the first person shooter games, and it wasn't as nearly as enjoyable as just sitting at the computer and playing like with a mouse and keyboard. I don't know why. All right. I thought that part would be a lot more fun, but it wasn't, so I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my own problem with the headache thing. Cause I started to get headaches again. Like literally within an hour, I was like, dude, screw this. I'm taking this shit off, So
I just want to point out, you're not the main audience who's going to adopt this technology. You're just not.
Right.
It's the next generation. So my thing since the beginning was that this has to be a great gaming device so kids play it and get used to it, because old farts like me don't need to be using it. Yeah. The kids are going to grow up into this technology, just like I grew up with the internet, and my parents are still learning about the internet. It's the same thing. They're still learning how to use their cell phones. Okay. Their smartphones. So
how do you answer now the different opportunities jumping?
Yeah. So I think he's missing a lot of alpha because he's jumping into quality things that are low. So Verizon, I never said was a bad company. I've had it in my dividend portfolio for a long time too. I had AT&T. There's no problem with buying, especially dividend stocks that are extremely crushed because there is some return to some mean. And in fact, Kris is probably coming up on that mean soon at $40. I don't know how much more he wants to ride it.
What were
after
you
40.
riding? You got it at 29, right? What are you riding it to?
30, 55.
He's not going to be there till 55, people.
No, it'll be 55.
That's
It'll be 55.
Dude, you're out at like 40, 42, which is fine.
No,
like
no,
okay,
55. And I'll tell you,
55.
I'll tell you, I'll tell you the reason.
I'll make a
exact reason
$100
why.
gentleman's bet. You're out at 55.
I'll tell you the exact.
Hold on, we're doing a
I'll
poll in
tell
the
you-
chat. We're doing a poll in the chat. Who thinks he's gonna actually last till 55? We're doing a poll. We got.
I'll tell you
There's no way
I'll
in
tell you exactly the reason why. Number one, I think we're headed into a recession. In my opinion, right now we've got all the makings of a recession starting to kind of come up. Okay. I know a lot of times you look at CNBC, you look at Twitter, and I was like, oh, recession's canceled, everything is fine. Usually when that happens, you're gonna start to see the impacts. Telecom is a great place to hide out and at the same time to generate those dividend-like returns, right? My bet on a lot of these positions is that we are likely to see a retracement of yields that are going to be going down and people buying this stock up, buying it to a much higher degree.
Real
The other
quick, Kris,
thing is-
before we continue, from 2018 to 2022, Verizon was at 50 and 55, 56. So basically for 5 years or 3 years, we were at Kris's price. Then 2022 shit hit the fan, basically.
Yeah. So what happened was, and this is the alpha that I kind of put on the Patreon, but I'll give it to you guys. I'm
He's giving it to us for free.
Oh,
Thanks, Kris.
thanks, Kris. That's awesome.
What's going on? No, I mean,
Thank you so
I'm
much
in
for
has
the
access
alpha.
already. I'm in
Thank
has
you.
access.
I was
Wow.
seeking this alpha. I just kept going on a website, but now I could seek it from you. This is great.
So basically what happened was the transition to 5G is a completely new segment for the telecom people. So there was, especially in 2021, Verizon bought a lot of spectrum. They spent close to 59 billion, almost $60 billion in buying up spectrum rights in order to broadcast the 5G signal all over the country. Now, T-Mobile had actually done this a little bit earlier. So T-Mobile had the head start in 5G, but Verizon is starting to catch up really, really fast. Right now, the biggest opportunity for the next 10 years is going to be in something called FWA, which is fixed wireless access. I've access. So I've mentioned this a couple of times already. This is one of those secular trends that's growing at about a 40% year-over-year CAGR, and it's going to be CAGRing all the way to 2030. So the key for Verizon is that because they're have so much spectrum, they have the ability to reach into a completely new business, which is their broadband internet via the 5G connection. And it's not going to cost them any additional capital that they weren't already going to spend just to maintain the additional connectivity from the cell phone towers. So,
but are you still staying till 55? Like when you get to 50,
This
you know,
this is easy.
yeah.
So
All
look,
right, Kris.
what's in the 40s? Like, why would you wait another year for it to get to 55 or whatever? Like, because it could be more than a year. Right? I'm just saying.
Because I'm being paid almost a 7.5% dividend. So if I unlike other companies that I have to hold and not get paid to do anything with, I'm actually getting paid to hold this one. I'm getting
Not the
paid to hold
options.
AMT, not the options. No, the options I
shares.
can clear out. The shares, the shares. I'm getting paid to hold them.
But
So-
it goes back to my
yeah.
point. If you just kept
Yeah.
Meta, you would have been way up more than trying to find Verizon, trying to
Yeah,
time
but
that.
once again, Meta
Or
is
Google or
also
Amazon.
it's with Meta. It's all about growth. Anything that slows down with growth, Meta's going to take a hit, right? So that's one thing right there. Plus, you're not getting paid additional to hold Meta unless it just generates more additional capital. I mean,
Well, it just
cap
went up
gains.
400%. I got
know,
pretty. I
yeah.
got paid enough to
Yeah.
hold.
So it's good, but that's like the one stock. And a lot of these companies I've been holding for a year, like SLG, I've been holding for almost like 8 months right now, because the value is still there in SLG. I didn't sell when it went to $41 because I think it's got much, much higher potential to go.
No. First of
And
all,
I'm getting paid monthly, and I'm
I
getting
agree
paid
with you.
monthly.
Holding is a good
Yeah.
thing, but
Yeah.
having spreads on something and something not hitting your price target, that's where it
Yeah.
becomes iffy. Because as soon as your spreads are already printing and they should be at this point,
Yeah.
you know, the longer you hold, the worse it gets for you because you're actually taking on a
Well,
little bit more risk there.
so with the spreads, I do agree, but I'm probably going to be unloading the spreads at a reasonable price and just buying stock with with those things.
With
But
Verizon.
most of my
I think Verizon,
yeah,
right?
with Verizon, yeah. Most of my position though is in stock right now anyway. I have like almost 3,000 something shares of Verizon, like
By
3,500.
the way,
something.
AT&T, you can look at once again, look at the charts, but AT&T is also very low. Like that's also
Yeah.
sort of undervalued for its
They
history.
So the problem with AT&T is that they're not in the FWA game right now as much. So right now the main leader is T-Mobile. T-Mobile is getting about 600,000 signups a quarter. Okay.
Wow.
Verizon is a close second, getting 400,000 subscribers. Let me just
Is the
pull up
difference
chart.
The technology T-Mobile has or their marketing? Why are they beating Verizon?
They're just first to market. First to
Okay.
market. They were
Mhm.
first to market. They invested
Mhm.
in all the infrastructure that was needed and doing a lot of the marketing. So a lot of people got into the Verizon 5G home internet. The other thing is they bought a piece of the spectrum that's really, like, how do I say it? Really good at getting through the walls of like the apartments and like the homes and being able to actually broadcast it without too many issues. Verizon invested in something called millimeter wave, which is a little bit higher in wave in the spectrum. But the good thing is the total bandwidth that you can get from Verizon is much higher. So you know, there's nuances there, but I think that right now it's a duopoly of growth for this industry. So you know, let me
And
just
what
pull up
percentage is Verizon, Chris, for you? It's like 10% of the portfolio?
I'd say 15% right now,
Okay.
close to it. You
That's
know,
fair.
but that's mainly because of the gains that I've got in Verizon, because it's done exceptionally well. The
You know, I have
last
an idea. I think we should have a segment where everyone in the chat under like a Junkies hashtag on Twitter or something, you make that same pie chart of your portfolio, or you can just say the tickers, whatever, and then all of us can like rate portfolios, and we could kind of just like look through what you guys own. That would be fun. We should probably try to do something like that.
So this chart right here is probably, hold on, not this one. Let me just share.
We're gonna end it off in 2 minutes, guys. We're gonna be done right at 10 and be out of here. Thank you, 400 people, for joining on a Sunday night. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So if you look at this is the fixed US 5G wireless access market. It's projected to grow to close to almost by 2030 into like the multi-billion-dollar market. And because there's only really maybe 3 operators that can actually do this successfully, which is T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, and like US Cellular to some degree, that it is going to be
it's 3 players.
Yeah.
It's 3 players.
Yeah. I'm just saying the US Cellular thing is there in certain markets, but for the most part, it's 3 players. So you're seeing the pie grow so significantly that even if you have a secondary market share, you'll still grow a crap ton of money. And like I said, what other industry is catering at almost a 40% growth rate, you know, in terms of total revenue that you could be generating? Not many, you know. So
Yeah.
And let me, damn it, man, I was looking for this one subscribers per
Please make sure
quarter.
to like and subscribe the stream. We'll be out in like 1 more minute.
Okay.
Starlink is,
Yes,
you
there we
know,
go. This is
7 years
perfect.
away, 2030, like
So-
you're saying.
So this is what I was looking for.
And you
So
can't
right
invest in it
here,
anyway.
so fixed residential wireless, this is the current growth rate, and this is by quarter. Okay. So this only launched in Q1 of 20. Total right now, it's already gone from 75,000 people 3 years ago to now almost 7.5 million people on fixed wireless access. Of that, T-Mobile has about 4.7 million subscribers. Verizon has 2.1. Now you can see Verizon is catching up pretty fast, right? So right now, if you look at it, Verizon only launched their stuff in Q1 of 2022. And you're looking at a much higher growth going forward. And same thing with T-Mobile. So both of these companies right now are worth taking a look at. T-Mobile's valuation is a little bit higher though, whereas Verizon is completely like value. Like right now, their PE is like, I think, a 7. Even after this giant write up, their PE is a 7, whereas T-Mobile is probably like close to 20 something. You know, so yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Not bad. We'll be back tomorrow. Markets are opening. Futures are red right now. We'll see if we have a red or green day. Obviously, S&P 500 up 8% for the month. Needs to be up another 5 points, and it'll be at 2023 highs. So either the market cools or the rally continues. The next couple weeks are definitely going to be interesting, especially this week, last week of November. That's it. Please make sure to like. Please make sure to subscribe. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we'll keep it going. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Later.